Hi everyone, this is a follow-up from one of my last videos on ACPT, and we're going to use custom fields again, and we're going to try to create something that looks a bit like this. Now this is a query loop where I've used some of our testimonials, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make exactly this format, and also a little bit of animation as well, make it a bit more jazzed up. And on top of that, we're also going to add some taxonomies. So we're going to add a taxonomy. We're going to show you how to do that using ACPT. And then also the query loop, if I say it right, is going to also take that into account. And maybe I just want to query just one certain taxonomy, for example, and hopefully that shouldn't be a problem either. Now, this is not the best looking query loop, but it will do for now for this video. So we'll show you exactly how to do that and make sure that you have what you need for when you want to do this. So let's jump onto this page and go to, actually let's go to the back end first. So we've got services, reviews, projects. I'm going to use reviews to make that exact looking section. And so I've got my ACPTs also there. I might just add my taxonomies first. I've got some taxonomies here. I wanted to add a new taxonomy. And with that, what's going to happen is I will add a new taxonomy that's going to be labeled, or should I label it actually? Service type, possibly, right? Service, is that right? Service type. And with service type, I can then kind of write down service types, maybe it'd be better, and copy paste it here. Service label would be service type. Singular, sorry, label would be service type, and plural would be service types. So there we are, service types and service type. Okay, seems a bit strange that we have to do all of this, but it will make sense when we see in certain parts of our website. Menu name will be service types, that's fine. And yeah, I think that's about it, right? Nothing else needs to be changed. Can I make this capital? Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. I don't know which one's which now. So there we are, service types. Okay, perfect. Singular service type, yep. Okay, great. So I'm going to next, and I don't think I need to change anything here. Save, perfect. But now we've got service types is a custom taxonomy. It doesn't have any association at the moment, right? So I'm going to click on association, and I'm going to add the fact that services is the one that I want it to be associated with. And so I'm going to just click on services, and that's it. It says it's saved, and I don't have to do anything else. Okay, all done. Custom types, and it's service types. Yeah, okay, all good. So now we've got that. Let's just double check on our, is it on service actually? What am I doing? That was our last video, wasn't it? It shouldn't have been on services, right? Service type should be on actually, I'm gonna write on review. Okay, so let me edit that again. So sometimes we make these mistakes. So next, that's all fine, that's fine. What do I need to do? Association, isn't it? Manage association, there we are. It's not going to be services, it's going to be on reviews. Okay, there we are, untick that, and now it's saved. Yeah, that makes more sense. That's why I was getting a bit confused. Okay, so we've got reviews, and so here are some reviews that I've added previously. And so if I go into any one of these, and I will see, actually, let me just quickly check, leave this for a second. Let me quickly check which one was the first few. I think it was, I did the reverse order. So it was Kazan, and yeah, okay. Right, so let's go back here, and I'm going to go to reviews, and I'm just going to add for the last two, I'm going to add service types. Now you can see here that service types have suddenly appeared, right? Add new service type. This is going to be, let's call this website web design, right? Or web design. Okay, so I'm going to save that now. Now I've got a taxonomy for this specific website, and it's web design. And so let's go back now. save that. I'll do the same thing for the conscious teacher, and I will do that here, the web design here. So perfect. And so I can save that, and that's it really. That's what I need to do. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to show you later on how to go about having a query loop that only looks at web design. So just like this one's for all our reviews, I might just want something for web design, right? It might be a different page, web design, service page. I want to show all the web design testimonials, and I can just put that there as well. Okay, right. So now that that's done, let's get started with our actual query loop. So I'm on edit page, and I'm here now, and I'm going to go down. Let's go just after this, so we can keep going back and forth with this one. Whereas this one is here, and so add after, and I'm gonna try to get query loop. Now there's a few query loops here, so we're gonna make sure we choose the right one. Okay, I'm not gonna use the kind of standard one here. I think that might be a Blocksy one. I'm not going to use the slider. I'm going to use query loop builder. So once I click on query loop builder, I've got something like this happening. Okay, I want this actually to be in a section, so I'm going to just add before. All right, section element. I want to have a section element like this. Open that up. It's got a content area. Now I want this to be in the content area. Right now I can control the width a lot better, a lot more easier now to control certain things. Right, so that's done. What's the next step? Let me just rename this. I like to rename them most of the times, and I'm going to call this video query, right? Query loop the video, right? Video that we're making. Okay, so done. Now when I first thought about query loop, I used to kind of avoid using it because I don't really understand it very well. But it's just a way of accessing any saved posts or any saved custom posts, and in a very efficient way. I'll only need to design one part, and it designs the rest for me. But having said that, we've got this right. We've got this design, and it's got one section, the top row, that takes up all of the section, but I've only got 2 blocks here, and here I've got 3 blocks. So that's a bit different, right? And the beautiful thing about Greenshift Page Builder is that it just makes things like this so easy. And when I avoided it, I didn't even realize what I was avoiding really. But now, you know, I don't think I can make a website without using the query loop. It's that efficient, that effective, and using custom posts obviously in that sense as well. Right, let's have a look. So I want to make this look a bit more like this. So I can see that the first thing I've got up here is going to be an image, and then I've got a title, and I've got some stars. I might just grab this one here. So I've got my query loop. I know I'm going to query the reviews, and so I'm going to choose not post type but custom posts, and then it gives me an option of custom posts. I'm going to do reviews, and so I'm going to click on reviews there, and then I'm going to show service types. I could change taxonomy if I wanted to. Let's do that for now. Let's do service types is going to be my taxonomy, and it needs to be web design. So I'm only going to show these 2, right? For this one, I can change that later on, and so that should be not a problem. If I wanted, actually, instead of doing includes, I could do excludes web design, so all the others apart from web design, right? So you've got lots of options here, which is phenomenal, firstly. Secondly, let's start to design our query loop. So I've got query loop. I'm clicking on query loop here, and I'm going to design this. Let me get myself out of the way. Let's put myself maybe top left hand is not going to be great either. Maybe here it'd be better. Okay, right, there we are. Now you can see everything a bit more clearly. Okay, right, so let's see. I've got a dynamic image here somewhere, but I can't see it being linked to anything, right? And that's because it says featured image, and I probably want it to be custom field. and I'm going to have that as a review. And I think it's going to be under, let's have a look. It's going to be under full review, reviewer name. Nope. Is there a reviewer image, or is that a actual, let me see, reviewer image? There we are, reviews image, meta box title review image. I think there's this one. Yes, it is. There we are. Perfect. Right. So I've got a few images here of all of our reviewers. And what I'm going to do, this looks pretty nice like this as it is, but I want it to look a bit more like this, right? So let's go through a few hoops to get it looking more like this. So I've got my dynamic image. Now, I don't want it to look like this. I want it to be a circle. So I know I've got to change my border radius, right? So I'll make it 100 and make this a smaller image as well, right? There we are. Images are going to be smaller. And actually what I might do is change the height, or not. Let me do that again. Where's the ratio? Aspect ratio, there we are. Aspect ratio is only 1:1. That's better. Now I can change the height. And make it a bit smaller. To be there, but the width as well. Oh, that's why to change that as well. Something like that. On the percentage and the pixel, want it to be 116. Yeah, so we want the height and width to be the same, 116, ratio 1:1. That's about right. I think this looks a bit bigger than the other one here, but it's okay. We can change that later anyway. Let's make it 100 for now. And 100 here as well. Okay, so okay, right, so that's done. Okay, now I want this title, right? So the dynamic title here. So I want to put dynamic image there. After that is going to be dynamic title. And then after that, I'm going to have a stars. Okay, some stars. So let's do this instead. Actually, I'm going to add a div element in there, and in the div element, I'm going to have my dynamic title. Okay, so I need to have another one. Actually, I need to add dynamic title. Dynamic title. Where's that gone? Dynamic title. There we are. I've got dynamic title in there, and I think that's all I need for this section, right? This is an annoying thing that happens with Gutenberg. When you click on the ad, I don't think you can go back into this. You have to press across and then jump around hoops. Right, so I've got my div element, okay, and in there I'm going to put my dynamic title, and I'm also going to need to make a few another div, sorry, and that way, oh, is it there? No, it's not. No, it's not. Okay, so that way, so I've got my other div here, I think. I've got my dynamic title. Yeah, I've got my div here. Okay, perfect. Right, now I know that what I will need here is going to be this dynamic element needs to be a flex box going down, right? Because this is going down. So my flex box is going to go down. And so I'm going to have my dynamic title and I'm my stars. Those 5 stars are going to be in this div element as well. Okay, so all right, so I've got that. Anything else that I need? I don't think I need anything else. I can do this at the end, this speech mark here. So let my brain work for a second here. Okay, I've got my dynamic image. Now I need this to be flexbox, which I've done, and I've changed this to custom field or title, but it can be the title, but it's going to be a review title. And the review here, actually, the review, it might not be a custom. title, actually it has to be a, let me use, I think you can use meta getter or dynamic title. I'm going to get reviewer name now. Where is that gone? Reviewer name. Is that, there we are. Okay, that's the names. Perfect. I don't like the size of this, so typography, make this, can I use my, yeah, I can. I'm going to make this large, text large. Here we are. I think that's about right. I don't like the fact that it's underlined. That's because there's this enable link for title, so I'm going to undo that. And now I've got it where I want it to go. Right, so far so good. Right, what I might have to add as well is another div here before the dynamic image. So let me do that now. And once I've got that, what will happen is, yeah, put that here. I want to put the dynamic image in there. And then I'm going to put this element in here as well, right? Because what I want is I want the image and this div with the title and the stars to go across. To go across. So I'm going to have click on this div. I'm going to click flex box, but this one's going to go across, and I can see now that I've got the picture and I've got the name there. So what's the next step? Let's make those stars, right? So it's a SVG element I'm going to add. So I'm just type in SVG here, and I'm going to choose SVG element. And once that's done, I'm just going to put that in here, right? Choose my SVG, so it's going to be a star. So it's an icon library here. So icon library, if I click on or type star, got a few options here. I like the look of this one. This is quite big, so let's maybe half the size. 25, it's about right. 25 looks good. It's not gonna make any difference, but here we are. 25. Okay, height and width 25. Perfect. Right, obviously I want to change the color, so let's change the fill color. Is going to be so this orange. So I'm just quickly take that here. That's another nice thing about Greenshift, is you can actually pick your color like that, right? I haven't seen that for every page builder, and so that's really nice. Now I would probably like to have a class here. Now, because I haven't looked at class systems in our YouTube page, I'm going to skip classes for now, but I would prefer to have a class system. And so you might not fully get the class system if I go for it now, if you haven't looked at classes before. But a class is just a way of giving a kind of like a fixed name to these elements, and then I can easily change them all at one go. So I'll have a quick go at showing you here. So we're going to call this review star. Okay, review stars. Okay, review stars. I'm going to add a global class. That means I can use this class anywhere on our website, and I'm going to click on add. Right, perfect. Now I've got that. I'm going to click on this, go on to my color here, and I think for this, I think it should be fill color. Yeah, perfect. Right, so look at that, fill color, and it just changes all of them. Now, actually, because this is a query loop, we'll do that for all of them anyway. I don't really need to have this class. But if it wasn't a query loop, then yeah, it would make sense to have that. Okay, but that's only if you've got one, right? But I'm going to have 5. And so I don't want to change them individually. So for that reason, having this class, it does make a lot of sense. Okay, so let's choose this yellow again. Perfect. Right, now I've got my class, I've got my fill color. I can duplicate this 5 times, boom, 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 or 4 times duplicate, 5 stars. I'll make it a 6-star thing. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. Now look what happens. The reason I've done that class is because if I want to change all of those stars in one go, boom. Can you see that? Now, if I didn't have a class, let's just look at the last two. Let's just take away the class there. Okay, and now I've got my class here. You can see that the ones that I've got a class are in red, are going to be red, right? Because I've chosen red. But now let's say I've changed my mind. I want it to be yellow. The ones with the classes instantly change. And so having classes just really much more effective. But one of the things that I sometimes forget is to save the class. Otherwise you won't see it on the front end. You might be wondering, why doesn't it work, right? And so that's really an important part as well. Let's do that here. Okay, great. And all the others have got that. Perfect. Okay, right. So you can see that all of them are yellow now. And whenever I want to change them, it will be just in an instant. Right, now I have got a div here. This is my main div, the parent div for all of these. And so I want a bit of space between the name here and the image. So I'm going to go over to my flexbox and I'm going to choose to have, let's say, about 20. That's a bit too much. About 12 pixel there. Okay, now my query loop seems a bit tight, right? All around top, you can see. So I want a bit of spacing. I like to use something like 45, but all around. 45 pixels all around. And we have something like that. Now that seems way too excessive here. So maybe 25 is about right. Okay, so there we are, 25. Right, so what do I do next? So I've done the top section, but what's happened is my stars have kind of gone into 2 rows, mainly because probably the name, right? So we'll fix all of that in a jiffy, right? And so let's do something like that. Okay, perfect. Now I've got my div element for all of these. I want this to be in the middle, right? Like it's here. So I'm going to go over to my flexbox and just control where it should be. But it should be in the center. Now it looks much more aligned, much better looking. Perfect. Okay. I think there's too many of these though in a row. I've got 3 or 2. 3 seems like it's the right amount. So I'm going to go to my query loop builder and in the grid columns, I'm just going to choose 3. Right now, you can see the names all fit on 1 row. Okay, so let's see how far we've gotten and let's see what it looks like on the front end. So front end wise, it looks very different, right? It looks very different to what we can see here. Why is that? Well, I can see that it's much wider, right? It's like full width of the screen pretty much. So I'm gonna just quickly change. Yeah, this isn't full width, so I don't want any. I don't want wide width or full width. I just want it to be normal width or narrow width. And so now, hopefully, yeah, now it's fine. Okay, so let's add a few more things because it's looking closer to what I want it to look like. There's a bit too much space here, and I need a shadow, and I can see a little green border. So let's try to do those things here. Okay, so query loop builder, and I'm going to add some shadows and a background border, right? Not background border, border. So let me increase that to 2 and let me change the color to not a dark green, but maybe a, yeah, there we are, something like that. Okay, and the nice thing about Greenshift again, in terms of a shadow, what I can do is I can add a shadow. I'm not sure why there's a shadow here. Oh no, I don't think it is. I can add a shadow. I think something like this is the one. Ooh, that's a bit too much. Maybe something like this is the one I will go for. Just double check. Yeah, something like that is nice. Okay, subtle. Maybe change that to a green, but very, very light green. So something like that. Okay, let's see how that looks on the front end. I'm going to refresh instead. and it keeps it here. Perfect. Okay, right. So yeah, it looks a lot better, right? It looks more like this. Now, the main part, I can see a lot of blues here. That's because there's links and there's even an email address here. So let's get rid of, I don't know why that's there. So let's get rid of that as well. Let's get rid of these two things. So there's a meta getter here. I think it's this one I want to get rid of, which is email. Yep, it's gone. And I want to get rid of, I might want a category. No, I don't want a category for reviews, right? I want to get rid of this as well. So I think that's this meta getter, and then you've got a dynamic title. Yep, so I'm going to get rid of that. And I have something a bit better now. And okay, I have a logo at the bottom. So main thing now is this section here, which is the review. So maybe the meta getter there would be a good thing. And then I'm going to have a dynamic image. I don't need this dynamic title. I'll just put it here for the time being though. Okay, so meta getter, I'm going to want some custom field settings. I want it to be, what do I want it to be? I want it to be review, and I want it to be the full review, right? So I want to click here, and I want it to be not headline review, but the full review. Here we are. So there you can see now the full review is now appearing. Perfect. But typography wise, I want it to be really black. And why is it not happening? Black. And does it say linked text? I'm guessing somewhere. Show empty. Let's have a look. No format. Okay, looks okay. Right, so got text black. Let's see if, why is that? Okay, now it's working. Okay, right, so text black. Or is it this one? Maybe darker. There we are, something like that. Text black, and what else am I? I think I need it to be larger than that. I prefer it to be medium text. Where's my medium text? There we are. Medium text. Now you might not have these options here where you've got these classes. That's because I've added them in previously, so you can just type in a rem preferably, or pixel, whatever you want to type in for the size. That looks a bit big actually, but let's see in the front end how that looks. It's not too bad. Okay, it's not too bad at all. So I just want to get rid of now. I want to get rid of this, the last part, which is the dynamic title, and I could get rid of that there. Okay, so I could have it like this. That could be nice, a simple. I could add the logo. I don't think the logo does anything to it, to be honest with you, but let's see how we would add logo. It would be exactly the same way as we've added this picture. Got a dynamic image here, and so I'm going to add this dynamic image in here. I might just duplicate that, might be quicker, and then I'm just going to add that over here. But the difference is I don't, oops, did I do dynamic title? Let me delete that. I want it to be a dynamic image, so I'm going to duplicate that. There we are, and add that here to the last element. But as I've mentioned, I don't want it to be circular, right? So what do I need to do? I need to get rid of the border. So let's refresh that. That's gone. Now it's a square, and neither do I want it to be the reviewer's image. I want it to be the logo, right? So that's somewhere business review. Let me just type in logo. Might work better. Yep, meta business logos. There we are. Here we are. Now it looks still funky because it's, yeah, I think because it's 1:1 ratio. So I'm going to put that automatic there. That should make it a bit better. Get rid of this width and this height, and now you've got quite large logos, right? And they're not really aligned very nicely either. So what I'm going to do is go back to query loop, and I want it to be aligned nicely. So I'm going to go to, where is it? On flexible content, and if I do flex then down, that might help, and I might do something like that. Okay, now I can see the bottom ones are all aligned, the top ones all aligned, but the middle ones look a bit funky, right? So I've got to play around with it until I'm happy with something that would suit this. So I might leave it to the top for the time being. And then what I might do is go to my, let's see, go to my divs. There we are here. Oop, there we are. Where's it gone? There we are. Right. I think the last div is the one that's got the got these two elements here. Okay, so I will change that to a flexbox going down, and if I can now play around with this, I can put it at the bottom, nothing happens, middle, nothing happens, nothing happens here for some reason. Justify content, align items to the end, that's sideways, it's going down though. Okay, these should work. I don't think I need this div element actually. Put that here, and I can get rid of that. It's extra div for no reason. So let's have a look now. Okay, so we've got down. Okay, let's leave that there, and not wrapping either. Okay, let's see, auto align, auto self, direction. Okay, let's go back to query loop and figure that out. We're going to go to flexible content. Oh, actually, that's why. Yeah, okay, so I've got it down here. I'm not sure what a grid column. Yes, I'm going to put it down as grid, but I can also change these. So at the moment, we'll come back to the alignment. At the moment, it's just a bare bone equal width kind of grid, right? So I want to change this, and well, I want to change this, and let me change the data because I've only got 5 here. So I'm going to change the data. So if you wanted to kind of have fewer items, you can just choose, instead of 12, I'll just do 5, okay? Because at the moment, I've only got 5 reviews here. So I'm going to choose 5. And then coming back up here, I'm going to have 6 columns. And then I'm going to enable Grid Builder. That just allows me to nicely change a few things. Like, for example, I'm going to have first 2 taking up half the space like the previous one, and then the next 3 taking up the whole space as well. So now let's have a look. Let's have a look. Now I've got something like this. Okay, I've got a nice 2 columns, I suppose, 2 equal columns at the top for the first row, and 3 equal columns for the last row. So here, yeah, so far so good. Now the only problem I can see is this logo, this bit of an annoyance. So I need to make sure that that's aligned to the bottom. So let's see how we can do that. Yeah, I think I've worked out one of the reasons why I haven't wrapped the last div. So this div, which contains the full review and the dynamic image, I need to wrap that. So when I wrap it now, right, it was wrapped, now it's wrapped. Now this is going to be together. And so when I finally go back to Query Loop Builder and I change the flexible content to something like this, yeah, now the whole thing goes down. Now there's a massive gap here, so we've got to kind of work out how do we fix that. Now the reason I have 3 here like this is because these were the first 3 were smaller reviews, right? So because they're smaller reviews, I would like to have it the other way around, like the big 2 to be up here. So I'm going to go to my Query Loop Builder, and then I'm going to, I want it to be the reverse way. So I think it's in data. Let me just double check. Data settings, yeah, ascending, right? So now that's a lot more neater. Okay. Now I've got something like this. okay, which looks a lot better. But having said that, that's something I have to keep an eye on, I suppose, right? Where if I have larger or smaller reviews, I add them on, this might have changed slightly, right? So that's where I think getting this right now will be better. I'm gonna leave it for this because the video's gone quite a long time. I'm gonna leave it here for now. But this is just a way of adding your reviews that you've entered yourself using the query loop. You can also add a few other things, like for example, what do we have here? We've got this kind of effect, the scaling effect. So if I'm going to do that, I'm going to have a slightly bigger gap between them, because otherwise it's going to, or let's show you anyway. Let's see what happens if you don't have a big gap. So if you have the gap we have now, might just about do it, but it's unlikely. We've got animations here. Where is it gone? CSS transform, sorry, on hover. So this is the hover, and I would like it to scale by 1.1, right? By a scale factor of 1.1. So now what's going to happen is, that's the second one. This is our one. Yep, it goes and gets larger, but you can see that it's hovering over another one of these cards. So what do I need to do? I can do different things. I can make the scale smaller. That could become 1.05 or 0.54 even. And that just about does it. It doesn't go over someone else, but I'd rather have it as 1.1. Rather have the scale as 1.1. But instead, I want the space between each card to be a bit larger. Let's say something like 35. That seems okay. Let's see if that works. Okay, yeah, that's not too bad. Maybe even 40 might even be fine. Yeah, 40 doesn't look bad, and there's a bit better space between once it's enlarged. Okay, it was, yeah, hovered over. There we are. Okay, not too bad, right? Very similar to this one. Okay, this one might have a bit more space between. Actually, I can see a bit more space, maybe 45. But yeah, you can choose what you feel is appropriate. So that's how we can create our own query loop, and we can kind of adjust things and yeah, make it look like however you want it to look like. And I've just done it for, as you can see, I just need to do it for one. Even if I change this now to 1, it will work. It'll be absolutely fine. You just have one card. If I want it to have more than 5, I can add more. That would also work. I can just enable my grid builder and I can change that around. Now I've just clicked on that. It's changed everything around. So again, I might want it to be 1, 2. You can even change the order. First one can be last, whatever you want, right? It could even look like this. 3, 4, and 5, but that doesn't look great up here, so I'm going to just increase that by 1. Oops, it's been annoying there. Decrease that by 1. There we are. 3, 4, 5, and what, you can't overlap, but I don't want that to happen. There you go. Back to here again. Okay, the logo is pretty much in the same place. This is slightly more space than this because more text, but we can see that these are absolutely fine. I'll probably decrease the kind of spacing here to finish it off, but as the video's gone on too long, I will stop here. See you in our next video. Hopefully it's helped you, and I'm going to make a few more videos on this in the near future. Take care, everyone. Bye.